talk here is about developing aura and light field. The exercise today involves the group training together. This can be one or more people as students. The teacher will not participate in the exercise but monitor the exercise. This exercise is based on using the body as a sensing mechanism, organism, device, and in this instance the use of a crystal ball, for instance, that is placed in a location that would be central to the participants in the exercise, such as in the middle of a room. The exercise can use various types of crystals and minerals as the focus, but this particular exercise, which is the basic one, involves quartz crystal, preferably of 100 millimeter or greater size, in a crystal ball form. And the necessity of having quartz is the main factor, so the size doesn't necessarily have to be 100 millimeter, or it could be less than that, and it can be natural quartz, and it doesn't have to be in the circular crystal ball form. But the ideal is a larger quartz crystal ball, preferably made from reconstituted quartz if possible, with the least amount of flaws, inclusions. Glass is not usable, as other substances are not of the same quality as quartz for transmission. Therefore, it's either have a well-grown quartz crystal or a well-grown reconstituted quartz crystal ground into shape. Circular shape is best for these exercises, and the exercise itself, once the crystal has been placed in position, the participants would take positions around the crystal ball in a circle at equal distance from the crystal ball, starting by facing the crystal ball. And it can be done on the floor with people sitting down or at a table. If at a table, it is gotta be careful of, if you juggle the table or hit the table inadvertently, the crystal ball might roll and possibly fall. So that's a consideration, and so that is the least distance. Now the exercise itself is a guided meditation. The meditation in fact is a gazing meditation to start with, yet the participants will be using their entire body in the exercise and will make various hand motions and take different positions and different bodily positions so as to change their reference to the crystal itself, and the crystal itself being the focus of the exercise. So the athletes, auric athletes as we would know them, would be circling the crystal, and if, for instance, there are 4 participants, 4 athletes, they would sit at 4 directions in the traditional medicine wheel style. The goal is to develop interchange of energy between the individual and the crystal and the universe. So this is a connective energy exercise. The teacher will guide the meditation, but first by establishing distance between the crystal and the individuals participating. The first rule is the participants cannot touch the crystal ball. Their hands should be well out of range, at least by several inches to a foot at the closest they can get to it. And this is to prevent the energy from shorting out, essentially, so that the participant doesn't accidentally cause a short circuit between the crystal ball and the participant and the earth. So that would be grounding out the crystal, whereas the energy exercise involves the participant to interchange the energy and not to ground it out. So the participants can assume various seated positions, even the yoga positions or such, but comfortable positions with or without cushions. And they are going to be in various rotation. Excuse me. It is cold. Yeah. 4:43 a.m. The exercise can be part of a larger group of exercises and tuning exercises, so that this whole concept of this particular exercise can come at a point within a regime or schedule of exercises, and depending on the type of classes being offered and the levels of the participants. But because of the nature of this, most of the work, the guided work, is being done by the teacher until the fields are felt by the individual, and then they are allowed to trade places with the teacher or stand up. The teacher shouldn't really sit in the circle and should supervise, but what will occur in this is that each of the participants will be given a focus and a time to focus upon the crystal with their concentration, their gaze, and their energy. And the other participants will monitor and try to maintain balance so that the participant has the full engagement with the crystal itself and not the other individuals within the circle. The energy manifested through the exercise can be small or great, but the intention or intent of the exercise should be neutral. And this is such and so that the participants aren't particularly tainted by religious or moral or sexual types of desires that might have them deviate from the course of concentration and the manifestation of their will in these exercises. The participants are required to have a particular set of mental qualities that allow them to be disciplined in a manner that is conducive to the participation in the exercise. Therefore, if the teacher in fact says to maintain a energy connection with the crystal at a particular distance of a certain frequency and magnitude, then the participant or auric athlete will in fact do that until told to change. And normally they would do various types of exercise attunements, and the goal there is to achieve various forms of mastery of the auric interchange with the crystal ball. Therefore, the timing of the exercise is especially important, and the impact of the exercise upon the other participants can be gauged over time. And the nature of the exercises is such that once the first circle of the exercise is complete, then the other participants can and will do coordinated exercises and be able to interchange energy from distances, and the distance energy exchange and also cross current energy exchange are part of greater and more advanced series of exercises. When the first exercise occurs, in this series, the teacher will have the participants locate themselves at specific positions around the crystal ball in geometric distancing, such as if there's two, then they are directly across from each other. If there's three, they're in a triangle. If there's four, it's a square, and so on. And then of course, there is a distance factor that only allows that certain number of people can be at a certain distance. So if there are more than a half a dozen people participating, it is difficult to get them all close enough without them touching each other, which would cause shorting out of energy fields. So in these types of exercises, if there are more than that many, 6 people, then the necessity of breaking up into smaller groups becomes paramount, and the necessity then of having other teachers or apprentice teachers that are able to maintain the discipline within these other small groups is necessary, and also the master teacher has to be able to monitor all the apprentices and all the exercises and all the energy interchanges. The full implication of these exercises is that they imply that everyone participating is in harmony or resonance, and to a certain degree, even though they have their own particular frequencies, by being able to participate in the exercise in the same room or area, the people are able to interchange and have a common intent. So the common intent allows them to do things that are out of the ordinary and possibly miraculous. So the entire idea of doing the exercises is to achieve mastery of the energy and mastery of the fields, mastery of the ideas, and most of this can come through the teaching and through the exercises. And as we get back to the first exercise, the participants will start by facing each other and gazing into the crystal and trying to establish a contact with the energy of the crystal. The crystal will have been energized by the teacher previously, cleansed, energized, and located within the circle upon a pedestal, a neutral pedestal. And then the participants, when they are able to establish connection with that, the energy connection is such that they are able to, through a series of concentration maneuvers, find themselves in various states of higher consciousness and various ability to manipulate the fields between their mind and the crystal. The crystal itself is a focusing mechanism, and a mechanism that allows the individual to extend and to refocus their energy to a greater magnitude if they are in harmony with the crystal itself. So manifestation of the individual's energy through the crystal allows the individual to magnify their own potentials. The coordination of the energy output through synchronized energy manipulation within a group or circle allows the coordination wave effect that in fact is important in establishing a higher degree of energy field manipulation that follows the path of the intent of the participants, and especially the master teacher who is essentially guiding this meditation and these auric exercises. The extension of the individual's ability into the world through the use of their aura and their light body is in fact the reason for doing the exercises themselves. And the exercise, in fact, allows the participant to see and be more of who they are, because they have to use all of who they are and what they are in order to affect the connection and energy manipulation that is part of this exercise. The energy interchange will initially involve the person or participant, the individual, to connect direct with the crystal and to, in fact, use that connection to transmit various types of energy formats of various frequencies and durations, as if it were a device, transmission device as it is. So the individual in themselves can previously get training for this type of energy manipulation, and the connection can be done through the mind or through the hand. So the participant can in fact raise their hand and hold it up or out near the crystal, at least several inches away at the closest, until the energy field is established between the individual and the crystal. And the energy field there is then the key to establishing the mutual resonance and harmony between that individual and the crystal, as other individuals within the group are establishing their own connectivity with the crystal. Eventually they are able to establish a matrix of relationships, and therefore, because of the harmonizing nature of the crystal, the multifaceted vibrational interchange of energy can be manipulated by the master teacher and then be harmonized even to a greater extent, so that the exercise and participants are in fact on track and follow the procedures as prescribed. The master teacher will establish a routine of exercises that in fact allow each individual to grow within their own potentials, yet force them to grow faster by being more aware of what they can do. So the nature of these exercises is such that the participant may not at first know whether they can do it, but just by participating for a short amount of time, the effect becomes prominent or becomes manifest. And then this is in a certain degree related to the own activation skills of the master teacher and the master teacher's ability to activate the chakras of the participants from the distance. And so then this whole process of activation, coordination, synchronization, and establishing energy resonance between the participants and the crystal allows the entire matrix to establish a type of space-time field that will allow other entities to enter for the participants eventually to receive spiritual and religious experiences or trainings from others in space and time. So the portals established through these exercises are important, and therein is the intent of the participants to be able to establish these energy portals within their own circles and their own spaces and times. So the master teacher is in fact teaching these others how to establish time portals, and actually being a teacher of knowledge that is much greater than the understanding of individuals, because this is an understanding of space and time and is not necessarily easily communicated in words and concepts, because the concepts are so great that our minds may not comprehend them without great amount of training. And therein lies education's importance in this entire field of study. The master teacher will, in fact, have responsibilities that extend from the moment the participants activate their own selves in these games or athletic or events or auric exercises. And the participants should know that they are establishing portals in space and time through their participation, and that they can come back to relearn, relive, and re-experience, so that they can relearn and learn from all that they have done and share everything they know with those that would learn, in that they become instantly teachers of this because it is ingrained within them. And by remembering and sharing, they can become portals in themselves and be able to share the joy and the pleasure of being part of the universe and connected. These all comes back to the energy exercise that the participants are sitting around the circle waiting to do. And as they go through these, they find that the interchange of energy between the individual and the crystal is such that it can be set up in various routines where there are, in fact, frequency modulations that occur with different types of tonal augmentation, either through music and also light. And so the participants don't necessarily have to see the crystal in order to participate in the initial exercises. Now, the crystal ball itself has been used for gazing for years, but to use it as an energy interchange device is especially important because it allows the individual gazer to, in fact, develop the skills that will allow them to do their gazing. So these athletic skills or athletics are part and parcel of the training of the gazer, the scryer, and those that would travel through space and time. The pleasures therein and doing that are evident to those who adventure out into those realms. Yet the adventure starts with the discipline of being within the circle, within the crystal's auric energy field. So establishing contact with the crystal and those individuals participating will eventually attain their own crystals and their own particular type of contact with those crystals, and probably have different types of energy experiences with each. The training that the master teacher is able to provide is one that is instantaneously absorbed by the participants, because it is a field manipulation by the teacher that allows the participant to, in themselves, in their chakras, in their bodies, absorb the teaching and become part of the teaching and have the teaching thoroughly within them. And therefore the teacher has to be able to use their own energy manipulation skills in order to give the crystal a type of frequency resonance that will in fact emanate from the crystal in order to establish the learning routines that are necessary for the participant. These are naturally built into the crystal if it's a quartz crystal, and other types of crystals have their own flavors, yet the quartz is the easiest to work with and is in fact preferred because of its organization and its ability to have coordination with our types of reality. The types of distances from the crystal that are observed that using one's hand or one's mind to reflect from the crystal at various distances, you'll find that there are shells or energy shells that can emanate from the crystal, especially if there are others that are in fact placing energy within the crystal to give it a type of frequency, vibrational. It's sort of like shock waves being sent out from the center and the body of the crystal ball, that because of the activation through the energy of the individuals participating, the crystal itself doesn't vibrate, but the energy that is emanating from it does in fact cause change. So the change is one of organizing energy in fields within its distance, and the higher, the greater of input, the greater the influence out. The individuals in the exercise will focus upon the crystal and attain some type of resonance with the crystal, interchange with the crystal, and at the direction of the instructor be able to do different types of interchanges. Especially they'll learn interchange of energy between themselves and other individuals in the circle at various timings and at various distances. And so, in fact, the whole geometric structure of the circle allows the interchange of energies that are such that there can be a greater awakening or activation that can come through a progressive heightening, or essentially working itself up in a circular spiral through time that in fact raises the consciousness of those that are participating, even though their minds may not understand what's going on. The underlying fact or factors involved will change their mental and bio body, and the impact of this on their life is such that it should organize them, give them a direction and purpose, and in fact give them a reason if they didn't have reason for participating in these types of exercises. The connectivity of the individual with the crystal in these initial exercises allows the individual, through that connectivity and that contact, to actually use their ability and use their mind and to manipulate the energy, which is part and prepares them for their exercises or energetic exercises that will involve individuals and not the crystal itself. The individual exercise can, at this point, be done with the individuals changing their position to the crystal, such as turning and putting their backs towards the crystal, and feeling a different type of connectivity, such as the connectivity to the chakras on their back at different points. These types of exercises are such that the teacher has a large duty to be able to coordinate mutual and high energy exchanges between the participants, and because of the interconnectivity and intimacy of the energy interflow, it is necessary to have a good harmony between the individuals before going to these extents. And because these harmonizing exercises allow such great intimacy of thought and energy, that the people and participants in them are in fact probably going to become more endeared to each other and should probably already have a certain degree of trust and understanding that this process will bring them, in fact, closer together and allow them to work together on much higher degrees and levels of love. And so they, in fact, are embarking on an emotional adventure that will take them near and far. Now, the participants also have an obligation not to lose their identity or their emotions in the exercises and become overwhelmed by them. And so the teacher also has to be able to monitor the experience of the individuals while undergoing this type of training, in that it is advanced. It involves a type of understanding that can sometimes stretch the boundaries of the person's personal consciousness beyond what they are normally allowed to understand or do. And so they may occasionally snap back into a realistic form of thinking, and this is, of course, desirable if they need to get back to reality right quick. And though they may have to go back a step and learn some more of the basics before getting onto that level again. The teacher will also be able to recognize when certain students should need particular personal training in order to go farther and advanced in other ways. And the participants should also understand that their growth is not something they may see immediately. It may occur in the weeks and months after the event of the meditation, the exercises, and the activations. These activations are such that they are non-religious and have really are the stepping stone to consciousness. So they may involve other types of religious events. They may occur in relation to these types of activities, religious activities such as praying and other types of activities. But the importance of this is that the idea is that this is a neutral mechanism. In fact, it's usable by people of any faith and persuasion and any gender and any type of intention, in fact. So what you use it for is entirely up to you, and those that, of course, use it for ill will find ill is used against them. So it's more of a tool, and it has its own karmic obligations, or as we might frame it in the West, destiny is such that you've got to do well in order to receive well. And as the individuals are able to go through these energy manipulation exercises, they will also feel in communication and contact with the entire universe at certain points within these meditations and these exercises. And this is, in fact, part of the individual's awakening to the world, to the universe, and to space and time. And in these exercises, the individual will, in fact, be able to receive greater information that is normally allowable. And this is desirable for those that are undergoing training in channeling and scrying into the future, into the past, for information. So using the crystal ball for doing research into space and time is especially one of the reasons for getting in shape with these auric exercises and these light body training. The light body training is a more advanced form of these meditations in that it allows the individual or the scryer to go through space and time in order to receive the knowledge or actually live the event if necessary in order to get the information or the knowledge, the path that is being inquired about. So gazers themselves are in such that they have the tool, which is the crystal ball, but having the method of using it is within their grasp and takes training, and the training is such that it is not easy. It is in fact a form of concentration, of being able to have faith as well, and understanding of what's going on is also important. But the understanding can come later. In fact, those without any particular knowledge of this can in fact gaze into a crystal ball and see. And this is a innate talent that is part of our human makeup, part of our genetic inheritance and part of our consciousness. And therefore those who feel attracted by crystals are also attracted by the energy within them and the energy that might emanate from them. And so in the exercises, the individual participant is in fact going through a personal growth that will allow them to connect to the greater whole of space and time and become a player in the destiny, their own destiny, in fact, as well as a start. And so this type of connectivity is in fact giving the individual a role in manipulating the circumstances and destiny that they are part of. In the use of these exercises, the participant will in fact have effect on the lives of other people in their proximity, family members and such. So as usual, there is amount of growth that has to occur, that will occur when someone becomes more aware, more energetic, and hopefully more happy and full of love and such, that makes everyone around them happier as well. The path of the gazer, scryer, and energy field light worker is such that it takes them through realms that people that aren't connected with the healing community wouldn't really know about. And so these are a type of contact and consciousness that allows individuals to become a giver, a healer, a physician of nature, of psychic physician. And so when a gazer is gazing into a crystal, they're also receiving advice that is healing for destiny.